Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare
Krishna.
Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada
Can you hear me?
Prabhupada Jaya
Yeah, Prabhu, 1 minute. Mataji is thinking after this.
Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva Nittai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nittai Gaura Hari Bol Nittai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nittai Gaura Hari Bol Krishna
Harinam Sankirtan Mahayagna ki jai. Welcome, Prabhuji. His Grace Ramagiridhari Prabhu, welcome.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, I had plugged in my headphone, so I didn't realize that Mataji was singing. So I'm sorry to have interrupted.
No, it's okay, Prabhuji.
So whenever you say, we can start, Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhu, we are ready.
Okay.
You can have some water and this one. And then we can start.
Sure. No, we will sing for 5 minutes, 5-7 minutes. Then we can start discussing our topic.
Sure, Prabhu. You will sing or will somebody else should sing, Prabhu?
Up to you. So I was thinking to sing Jayanilo Premadana.
Yeah,
or
Prabhu,
at least,
sure. Yeah, carry on, Prabhu.
Today is the disappearance day of Shripad Madhavendra Puri. So I thought of singing this Janilo Premadana.
Haribol.
There is no power here, just power went off. So in 5 minutes, it should be back. So that I'll turn on my video. Till then, I'm running out of my what I call battery. So
Battery. No issue. No issue.
hopefully, power should be back in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Jayanilo Premadana Koruna Prachu Jayanilo Premadana Koruna Prachu Heno Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Taku Heno Prabhu Kota Gela Acharya Taku Kaha Mora Swarup Rupam Kaha Sanatan Kaha Mora Swarup Rupam Kaha Sanatan Kaha Dasara Gunata Patita Pavan Kaha Dasara Gunata Patita Pavan Kaha Mora Bhatta Juga Kaha Kavira Kaha Mora Bhatta Juga Kaha Kavira Eka Kale Kota Gela Gaura Natara Eka Kale Kota Gela Gaura Natara Ashane Kuti Bho Mata Anale Pasibo Ashane Kuti Bho Mata Anale Pasibo Gauranga Gunera Nidhi Kota Gile Pabho Gauranga Gunera Nidhi Kota Gile Pabho Se Saba Sangira Sange Je Koilo Bilas Se Saba Sangira Sange Je Koilo Bilas Se Sangana Paya Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Gaura Nitai Jaya Gaura Nitai Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari.
Hari
Bol.
Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Sarva Sastrabdi Piyusha Sarva Vedaika Satpala Sarva Siddhantaratnatyam Sarva Lokaika Drikpradam Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavata Prabhu Kali Dvanto Ditadityam Sri Krishna Parivartitam Paramananda Pataya Prema Varshaksharayate Sarvada Sarva Sevyaya Sri Krishnaya Namostute Madeka Bando Matsangi Madguru Manmahadanam Mannishtaraka Madbhagyam Madananda Namostute Asadu Sadhu Tadayin Ati Nicho Chatakara Ana Muncha Kada Chinmam Premna Hritkantayospura Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakayam Chakshurun Militam Yenam Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedantam Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. It's a pleasure to be with you all to glorify Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and what more happiness a person may have by being in the assembly of wonderful devotees, enthusiastic devotees, with whose help my opportunity to be more closer to Krishna is more and more increased. So thank you so much to have engaged me in this service. It's a pleasure always. So we are just around the corner for our Gaura Purnima festival. So we have been in our Mumbai congregation discussing about Gauranga Mahaprabhu's Leela under the title Karuna Avatar for the past 19 days. Today is the 20th day. So we have been discussing from Chaitanya Bhagavata. And right after this class, today we have another session with them in Hindi. So hopefully in the next 1 hour, we will try to discuss and share as much as we can. Originally, when Haridas mentioned to me today's class on Narottam Das Thakur, I somehow understood it as Madhavendra Puri, because today was his disappearance day. So what we will do is that we will have a discussion of glories of these Vaishnavas, both Narottam Das Thakur as well as Madhavendra Puri, and also try to glorify Shishi Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his wonderful incarnation. Ajanulambita bhujau kanakavadato sankirtanaika pitaro kamalayataksho vishwambaro dvijabaro yugadharma palo Vande Jagat Priyakaro Karunavataro. So, this incarnation of Shri Gaur Nitai is a very wonderful, glorious, and a rarest opportunity that people in Kali Yuga get. So, the Lord, one who appears once in 1,000 Divya Yugas, has appeared in this Kali Yuga just 530 plus years ago. It is like, as we say, Adha Ghanta pehle hi aake gaye. So something like that. It is very close. Just in 432,000 years of Kali Yuga, just few years before, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has appeared. And Mahaprabhu just did not appear and go on. Mahaprabhu demonstrated how bhakti has to be performed. So today, in our 1 hour discussion, let's talk about Narottam Das Thakur and his contribution towards the Sankirtan mission. Of course, Haridas wanted me to discuss exclusively on the Keturi festival. I'm not sure how much I will be able to do justice to that. But let's talk about Narottam Das Thakur and his Gaudiya Vaishnava contribution on how he has, helped, how he has participated. So in the Sankirtan mission, and we also talk about Madhavendra Puri a bit. There are few devotees who have got a special privilege. The privilege is that, I'll tell you the story. One day, Narada Muni was coming to meet Ambarish Maharaj. When Narada Muni was coming to meet Ambarish Maharaj, he carried a notebook in his hand, and he said, "My dear Ambarish, this notebook that you are seeing is not an ordinary notebook. This has got all the names of very nice special devotees, and these devotees are always constantly remembering about Krishna, and your name will be there in the first page itself." We say now, if our Google search, if the names gets in the first or second or third, we are already in the premium category. So Narada Muni proclaimed to Ambarish Maharaj, "You are such a nice devotee that your name will be in the first page itself." And Ambarish Maharaj is such a humble devotee. He responded to Narada Muni back saying that, "My dear friend, my dear sir, you are absolutely wrong. मैं तो गया गुजरा व्यक्ति हूँ. I'm completely a lost gone case. That my name will not be there. I'm not a devotee. I have offended Durvasa Muni. I have been in the worldly affairs, So how do you think that I'm a devotee? So I don't think my name will be there. I'm confident. So Narada Muni wanted to prove the point. So he flipped through the first page, and to Narada Muni's surprise, Ambarish Maharaj's name was not there. He flipped the second page, third page, fourth page, fifth page, 15th page, 30th page, 100th page. Nowhere Ambarish Maharaj's name was not, there. So Narada Muni got completely confused. How is this possible? How is this possible? Ambarish Maharaj is such a nice devotee. In fact, he has been glorified as one who has always done this Navavida Bhakti, all the 9 aspects. We give example of Shravanam 1 person, Kirtanam 1 person, Vishnu Smaranam 1 person. But in case of Ambarish Maharaj, Prabhupada writes, he is one personality who has done all the 9. How his name will not be there? So he got completely confused. So he thought there may be some printing mistake or some mistake, so I'll have to go and clarify. And Ambarish Maharaj, as a humble devotee, was very, humble. Said that, you see, I told you, I'm not a devotee and Krishna, this is a proof. Narada Muni didn't get settled, so he went back to Vaikuntha Lok, and next time he came back with another book. No, I have a special book this time, and your name will be there in the first page. So Ambarish Maharaj said, why do you want to do this exercise again and again, my dear Narada? I am not a devotee. But when they flipped the first page, the first name was Ambarish Maharaj. So Narada Muni said, you see, the mistake was, the previous book contains all the names of the devotees who are constantly thinking about Krishna. But this is the book which contains names of all those about whom Krishna is constantly thinking. So, Madhavendra Puri, Narottam Das Thakur, Abhay Charanarinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and likewise some of wonderful Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas, they fall in this category. Now, Ramanujacharya in his Bhashya explains that in the journey of Krishna consciousness, a person, if he is not able to remember Krishna at the time of his death, if he has been a practicing devotee, Krishna assures he will remember about that person when he leaves the body. So, Narottam Das Thakur is one such saint who lived his life only for the mission of spreading the Sankirtan mission. As Srila Prabhupada explains in Bhagavad Gita, as Krishna explains, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying, one who claims to be my devotee is actually not my devotee. One who claims to be a devotee of my devotee is actually my devotee. And I am very dear to him. One who is preaching, glorifying about me. So after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu finished his manifested Leela, at the fag end of his Leela, he had enabled, he has blessed Narottam Das Thakur, Srinivasa Acharya, and Shyamananda Pandit. These trio devotees, they had a privilege to learn under Jiva Goswami. And Jiva Goswami was personally trained by Rupa and Sanatana. And Jiva Goswami inspired them about the glories of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, if at all anyone has actually begun the real preaching, it was Narottam Das Thakur, Shyamananda Pandita, and Srinivasa Acharya. Of course, Rupa, Sanatana, and 6 Goswamis have a significant contribution into this preaching mission, but their contribution were more on literary compilations and identifications and finding out the pastime places. And definitely they did preach in a very limited capacity. But the real Gaudiyas, Goshtyanandi type Gaudiyas, really going out rescuing and giving the blessings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to every individual spirit soul. That service was actually the real book distribution, the real Sankirtan, the real congregational chanting. They were all done by these trios. And Narottam Das Thakur happens to be one who had done this preaching mission, who has done this congregational gathering in a very, very big way. There are several instances. Narottam Das Thakur, by his fellow contemporaries, by his fellow members at that time, he was not very well respected amongst those Brahmanas at that time. Like how when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there, so during Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, there were a lot of caste Brahmins, Shaktas, and few other people who accused Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, saying that he is trying to break the religiosity of a Brahmana. He is trying to embrace every caste and creed and giving them spirituality. So they had some enviousness towards Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu without realizing who Mahaprabhu was. Likewise, when Narottam Das Thakur was trying to preach, all the so-called Brahmanas, they were envious of him. So much so, to an extent, they kind of made a plan to kill him and a plan to accuse him and defame him. And somehow, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, with the help of Narottam Das Thakur's servants, somehow they managed to serve, they managed to help, they managed to glorify, they managed to rescue Narottam Das Thakur's image from being tarnished. Of course, it was Mahaprabhu's personal interest also. He had a special blessings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Narottam Das Thakur, in his all the songs, I was just discussing, just before this class, I was giving a Bhagavatam class. So we were just discussing how in the 4th canto, 29th chapter, in one place, Srila Prabhupada is writing, by a person's face, words, action, we can tell about the person's consciousness. So this is verse number 63 of 29th chapter of chapter 4. Srila Prabhupada is talking about Narada Muni's conversation with Prachini Barhi, where it is wonderfully explained how when a person, Prabhupada starts the purport itself by saying, face is the index of the mind. So we were discussing how just by looking at somebody's words, action, application and priorities, we will very, very easily be able to identify a person's consciousness. And Narottam Das Thakur's words, his songs will definitely reveal how wonderful his devotional sentiments are. So I'm going to read a small shloka from Madhavendra Puri's offering. This is going to be a blended glorification of Madhavendra Puri. Through Madhavendra Puri, we are also going to glorify Narottam Das Thakur and in turn glorify Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is referred in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 4, text number 3. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes about this shloka. Mugdam maam nigadantu niti nipuna brantam muhur vaidikam mandam mandava sanchaya jadadhyam muktadara shodaraha unmattam viveka chaturaha kamam mahadambikam muktum nakshamate managapi mano govinda padaspraham. Madhavendra Puri says that moralists accuse me of being illusioned. Experts of Vedas accuse me of not being in the right Vedic path. My friends and relatives call me frustrated. My brother call me mad. Wealthy Mammonites consider me fool. Learned philosophers may call me proud. Still, my mind does not budge an inch from the determination to serve the lotus feet of Govinda, though I am unable to do it. So, we are going to discuss the entire session today around this theme on Madhavendra Puri's mood, which is what Narottam Das Thakur's mood, which is what Srila Prabhupada's mood, and which is what we are supposed to inherit. Because as we have always discussed, that any topic, any chapter, any discussion, how much ever you glorify, you will fall short of time, you will fall short of words. So we pick up something and try to, churn them. So I just picked up this as my theme, which has got Madhavendra Puri's words, which can be mapped to Narottam Das Thakur's glories, and eventually set the mood of how our Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas have, conducted themselves, and eventually this will tell in terms of what are we supposed to meditate on for the upcoming Gaura Purnima Utsav. For sure, I may not be able to do justice to all the glories of all these Acharyas. So the next half an hour, 40 minutes, whatever we could do, let's do it. Moralists accuse me of being illusioned. When Srila Prabhupada started this Krishna consciousness movement, Srila Prabhupada was accused by some parents. Srila Prabhupada was accused by some group of socialists, philanthropists, or certain people, saying that ISKCON is brainwashing people. So Prabhupada used to have this very famous claim that we are not brainwashing anyone, we are brain giving people. Let people accuse me the way they want to accuse, but we are not just brainwashers, we are brain givers. These accusations, Madhavendra Puri had a disciple by name Ramachandra Puri. This Ramachandra Puri used to serve Sripad Madhavendra Puri personally, and in the process, he became familiar to Sripad Madhavendra Puri, so much familiar so to an extent that he started to find faults at his own Gurudev. And in the process, he committed lots of offenses. He committed lots of mistakes. And eventually he had to suffer the consequences, so much so to the extent that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also kind of stayed away from him. There is a wonderful description about Ramachandra Puri visiting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Antya Leela. So, Madhavendra Puri says, several moralists may accuse me, saying that I am immoral. I am not trying to abide by the so-called world's morality. Prabhupada once said that I have a curse from all my students' parents. Because I have taken them away from their family, they have been cursing me. That is why I am receiving those curses just because they are all becoming my students. And Srila Prabhupada, in a very lighter words, he said, let my students take the curse, let me focus on my writing so that I can win more and more souls to the lotus feet. So the message here is, people from a modern lifestyle, when Narottam Das Thakur was there, he was also made fun of by the so-called Brahmanas. To an extent, they went to the Raja Narsingha king, I forgot the name of the king, They went to the king and complained that this Brahmana is actually bringing in defame to the entire Brahmana Kula. You please come and question him. So they all formed a plan, strategy to come and accuse Narottam Das Thakur. So a big event was planned. Narottam Das Thakur at that time, he was, very nicely preaching, practicing, cultivating. So two of Narottam Das Thakur's students, they realized that some conspiracy is being hatched against their Gurudev. So what they decided is, they decided to set up a stall outskirts of the city. The Raja was going to come along with his entourage to come and challenge Narottam Das Thakur and eventually arrest him. Because all these so-called Kali worshippers, all these so-called bogus practitioners, so they were trying to accuse Narottam Das Thakur because he was trying to elevate them out of that so-called religiosity and give them the position of devotional life. And when this Raja came to the city, when they had a camp outside the city, so two of the Raja's servants, they came to the shops. One of them had kept a shop for a pawn shop. Another one had kept a shop of pot making. So they said, we are going to have a camp, so to do a cooking. So they came to buy pots. Another one came to buy, some betel leaves and things like that. So when they came to the shop, the shopkeepers were actually servants of Narottam Das Thakur. They spoke to the soldiers in Sanskrit language. And the soldiers were, simply surprised. How come these two guys are speaking in Sanskrit language? They seem to be very knowledgeable, very intelligent, very qualified, very profound in what they are speaking. So they went and told the king, and the king also came and witnessed them, interacted with them. They said, we are all students of Narottam Das Thakur. Narottam Das Thakur has taught us, inspired us, blessed us. So when the Raja thought, even if the shopkeepers of Narottam Das Thakur's territory is so intelligent and so qualified, how can I even challenge Narottam Das Thakur's Panditya as well as devotion? So he chose to withdraw. That day night, the Raja got a dream wherein Kali Devi came and chastised and threatened, if you ever take an attempt to move further to humiliate Narottam Das Thakur, I will myself come and, the way I have killed Mahishasura, I would come and kill you. So the Raja got threatened and finally went away. This is a very important episode to establish that Narottam Das Thakur, whilst he was glorifying, celebrating and inspiring everyone to take up the process of Krishna consciousness, he was given shielding, protection by his own followers as well as the Supreme Lord himself. Similarly, Madhavendra Puri, when he was trying to preach and establish, Madhavendra Puri was personally served and protected by the Giriraj himself. Similarly, when Srila Prabhupada was trying to preach and establish and glorify, the Supreme Lord and the entire parampara gave shielding to Srila Prabhupada. And in turn, if we try to practice Krishna consciousness as per the direction given by our predecessors, we will also be receiving that much protection. So my first reflection is that some moralists, some socialists, some so-called people may accuse us that we are not doing the real work. So many hungry people are there, so many orphanages are there, so many this are there, that are there. You guys are just simply chanting and dancing. And some unscrupulous Kali Chelas would as well shoot movies and say that why are you pouring milk on the deities, wasting gallons of milk, and instead of feeding the poor people. I want to ask them, one of the interviews I happened to see because of family circle, there are a lot of garbages that come in the family WhatsApp groups. Sometimes some garbages are useful for preaching also. I saw an interview by one cinema actor. He said for one particular movie, for one particular song sequence to shoot, they had consumed 3,000 kilograms of santras. He was laughing out and said they poured 3,000 kilo of oranges from a slope, and the heroine were rolling on them. He was shrugging and laughing and saying that in the 1 week we never had any oranges in the nearby place. All the oranges we consumed. I said these rascals, for shooting one small movie dance sequence, they could consume 3,000 kilos of oranges. Where did all these poor people go at that time? Just because they're pouring a milk and other ingredients on the DTs, they're finding it hard that poor people are going hungry. Anyway, the argument is moralists accused. They accuse anything to do with Krishna consciousness and spirituality. So Madhavendra Puri says, I don't get affected. I will not budge an inch from their accusations. So Narottam Das Thakur was challenged during his preaching mission when they went for a Nagar Sankirtan. The entire box of Srimad Bhagavatam and all the literatures of Goswamis, they were stolen by the Raja, and they were all shell-shocked because those days printing presses were not there. In fact, in one place, Narottam Das Thakur is actually writing a song saying that when will that day be mine where there will be a technology where we can print as many copies as we want about these Vaishnava Acharyas literature and rescue the people in mass, people in general. And what Narottam Das Thakur desired, Srila Prabhupada fulfilled under the order of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. You see, this is a very nice scientific connect. I'm picking up pockets of information, but if you thread them together, they are all very relevant, coherent, and completely to the context that in our own lives, in our own practice, we better learn to not get carried away by such accusations, whether it is coming from our family or friends. Because unfortunately, our education system has made us to feel afraid when there is no majority. If 6 people are saying wrong, they happens to be correct, whilst one person is telling a correct, he happens to be snubbed and saying that you're wrong. That is how the society is running. But unfortunately, the truth is not established by majority. Truth is established by parampara, by Shabda Brahman. That is why Prabhupada says democracy is demon crazy. You cannot establish a Siddhanta truth by a majority. Truth can only be established by proving the lineage and the parampara system. So my first reflection is, in our service to Guru, Gauranga, and as a preaching mission, whether it is from Madhavendra Puri's perspective, Narottam Das Thakur's perspective, Srila Prabhupada's perspective, we better give a very strong and sincere endeavor to not get carried away and remain firmly fixed to the process given by our Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas. Second, experts accuse me of Vedas. Experts of Vedas accuse me of not being in the right Vedic path. So this accusation, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj had, Narottam Das Thakur had, and several acharyas, even to the extent when Madhvacharya questioned his leader, he was asked, who are you to ask such a question? You are such a small boy. How can you ask questions? So basically, Ramanujacharya was questioned when he got initiated. His spiritual master came and questioned, I took a promise from you not to reveal this secret. Now you will go to hell. So everybody questioned. The reason is, Srila Prabhupada said, one day, Srila Prabhupada was in the crowd in Amritsar. He was doing a public program. So one person asked in the crowd, saying that Swamiji, you claim yourself to be person following Vedic righteousness, religiosity, and dharma, but you have brought all these foreigners. So what does these foreigners know? How do they even understand our Vedic philosophy? And Prabhupada, whenever Prabhupada is challenged like this in public, Prabhupada would never take a damn. So Prabhupada immediately pointed to one Mataji in the crowd, his own student, in his disciples gathering. She was a white-bodied Mataji. He said, okay, you chant Isopanishad. I mean, this is impromptu. Huh? And that Mataji did not know more than 5 verses in Isopanishad. So Prabhupada and that Mataji never had prayer arrangement. Just that Srila Prabhupada said, you chant Isopanishad. That Mataji started chanting Om Purnamata Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudashyate Purnasya. Then said, everything. He said, next one, third one, fourth one. So she is already palpitating inside because I only know 5. And I was already challenged by somebody in front of me. Somebody is challenging my spiritual master. And my spiritual master is using me to establish a point. What if I cannot chant beyond 5? So when she chanted 5 shlokas, Prabhupada says, all right, that's enough. So the whole point was, in front of everyone, Srila Prabhupada said, you see, our Vedic system is not in dress or address. Our Vedic system is in our practices. Our Vedic system is in our principles. Our Vedic system is in our application, not just by wearing, kashaya and some sort of a dress. We demonstrate our Vedic things. Because the external hypocrisy is the natural process this Kali adopts to present spirituality. And we don't subscribe to hypocrisy. We subscribe to complete, genuine, honest, transparent execution of Krishna consciousness. So, Narottam Das Thakur, when he was preaching to the people, when he was rescuing a lot of people, the biggest accusation that Narottam Das Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, and all of them had was they were trying to not categorize anyone based on caste, on their birth. They were categorizing and encouraging everyone based on their inability. That is why they say para dukkha dukhi, para sukha sukhi. Now the scenario is opposite. Para dukkha sukhi, para sukha dukhi. Now all the younger generation, YouTubers and TikTokers, their only way and means of enjoyment is para dukkha sukhi. किसी को ऊपर अंडा फोड़ देने का, किसी को गड्ढा खोदने का, किसी को नीचे गिरा देने का, push somebody down, throw some eggs on somebody, humiliate them, ill-treat them, and laugh at them, and say like, subscribe, and follow. What am I supposed to like, subscribe, and follow? I am humiliating others. I am showing eggs on somebody. I am pulling somebody down. I am humiliating somebody, and we all laugh and try to ask like, subscribe, and follow. We are also saying the same thing. You like, subscribe, and follow. Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. That's what we are saying. But you say that no, this is Purana Kayalat. This is old school thought. The new school thought is, I'm a TikToker and a YouTuber. And what do? You do nothing. Srama eva hi kevalam, simply waste of time. So Prabhupada says that the Brahmanas' wives in Vrindavan, vis-a-vis the Brahmanas, they were knowledgeable. But what happened to that knowledge? When Krishna and Balaram, they sent their boys to ask for, Bhiksha, they couldn't recognize Krishna. They recognized, no, ye Vishnu ki arpan ke liye ja raha hai. This is being offered for Vishnu. Damn, Vishnu is himself calling there. Which they couldn't understand because their panditya, their so-called qualification, blinded them. That is why Srila Prabhupada says, sometimes the learned people may come to Mayapur just because we are living in a hut. People may get blinded and not recognize Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan mission. So I encourage you all to construct a very beautiful temple of Vedic planetarium, very beautiful temple, so that at least by looking at the magnificent installation, they will be able to come closer and appreciate Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So one of the reasons the temple Mayapur project is very gloriously being built is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Jiva Goswami, or all the acharyas, including Srila Prabhupada, wanted them, not because bhakti is in extravaganza. Bhakti is definitely in our heart, but unfortunately, people look at the extravaganza part of it. So they get carried away, they come over there. So my second reflection is that Madhavendra Puri is saying, I will not, still my mind does not budge an inch from the determination to serve Govinda, because experts of Vedas accuse me of not being in the right Vedic path. I may apparently be breaking some norms. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, he was coming in a Rolls-Royce car, white Rolls-Royce car with a chauffeur in Vrindavan, in Ramagiridhari. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj came in the car, Rolls-Royce car. He got out of the car. All the Babajis in Vrindavan said, hey, you are a sannyasi. You are coming in a Rolls-Royce car, that too with a chauffeur. So what kind of a sannyasi are you? Then and there, in that right spot, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj gave a lecture on what is Yukta Vairagya. A reporter in Australia asked Srila Prabhupada, Swamiji, you claim yourself to be a sadhu, but you always travel on a most expensive car. Srila Prabhupada responded saying that what this car made of, rubber, tin and wood. If you come to our spiritual abode, we have Pushpak Viman. We as spiritual soldiers, spiritual warriors, gurus are supposed to be carried in those Vimana, which is made of gold, diamond and all sorts of costly, jewels. That this all, a car that you claim as expensive is made of rubber, steel and wood. It means nothing for us. So the whole message here is, even people may accuse us by not being in the right Vedic path, but we can be very determined and confident that the process that we have adopted, the process that we have embraced, the process that we have taken up is bona fide, and Mahaprabhu has demonstrated this personally. That is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is singing in his song. Jati Dana Vidya Bala Na Kore Apeksha. Jati Dhana Vidya Bala Na Kore Apeksha. So Nityananda Prabhu or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not going to classify anyone based on this, consideration. Srila Prabhupada was in Hyderabad. This is in 1973-74 sometime. So Radha Madan Mohanji DD installation was happening in Hyderabad. So in those days, there was not so many ISKCON Pandits to perform the installation ceremony. So they had called for some Sri Vaishnava Pujaris from Tirupati. So they had done 5 days festival, 5 or 4 days festival, detailed installation festival, very detailed, arrangement, and all the installation got over. And the last day, after all the installation was over, before the Aarti, Kirtan was planned. So all the assembled members, they all participated in the Kirtan. First class Kirtan was going on. So with all this Sri Vaishnava Pandits who came to perform, they also couldn't control themselves. So they also started dancing in the Kirtan. When they started dancing in the Kirtan, which is unusual in a Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, somebody dance in a Kirtan, shaking their hands and legs, because they are all, mantra chanters. So when they couldn't control, when they saw this wonderful Kirtan going on, Hare Krishna Mahamantra Kirtan, when they were dancing, Prabhupada pointed to all his disciples and said, look at them. This is the essence of Krishna consciousness. After doing all the 5 days of festival, what you're seeing here, that chanting and dancing the holy name of the Lord is the essence of Krishna consciousness. So hence, let us not get carried away from our mission to serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his glories just because some Vedic philosophers accuse us of not being in the right Vedic path. Third, friends and relatives call us frustrated. So this is a very common scenario in our own families. Sometimes people say that you have taken up spirituality just because you don't have anything else to do. You are a failure in life. You do not want to do job. You do not want to study properly. You do not want to do household things properly. You are an escapist. you are a person who are trying to, evade your responsibility, so on and so forth. So Madhavendra Puri, when he has mentioned this statement, he was trying to address that where in Kali Yuga, families are, even Raghunath Das Goswami's parents, they didn't want him to leave the house. They want to enjoy all the riches. Giriraj Maharaj's parents, they didn't want to let him go. They came to Srila Prabhupada and said that you take $1 million check right away, give my son back. So several people tried their luck to give this accusation, saying that we are frustrated people. But Srila Prabhupada said that we are not frustrated, we are focused. Vyavasayatmika buddhihi ekeha kurunandana bahu shakahi anantasya buddhayo vyavasayina. The example is given is that Prahlad Maharaj says how a magnet, when it is brought near the iron, the natural instinct is they get attracted. Similarly, a jiva, by his natural instinct, gets attracted to the holy name of the Lord. By not being attracted is unusual. If I'm attracted to the Lord, glorifying the Lord, following the Lord, what is unusual in that? When Madhavendra Puri was on a parikrama, it was on a summer time, it was on a hot sun, he was doing a parikrama, very fragile body. At the time he was doing a parikrama, and suddenly one small boy came and said, my dear sir, my dear sadhu, that please accept this pot of milk. This is cow milk. I am just a cowherd boy here. I just thought you are traveling alone, so I just thought of offering you milk. So when Madhavendra Puri drank that milk, it was like a nectar. It was so tasty, so wonderful. And later it was revealed that it was not just a boy, it was the Lord who came to serve Shripad Madhavendra Puri, who want to serve. That, as I mentioned at the beginning of the class, they are in the category where Krishna wants to serve them rather than Krishna wants to be served by them. So Shripad Madhavendra Puri was a recipient of Lord's mercy, was a recipient of Lord's love, and he received milk from the Lord, not only once, more than once. In Kheer Chor Gopinath pastime, the Lord stole kheer for Madhavendra Puri and kept it for him. So it is that Lord goes out of the way to feed and take care of his fellow devotees. So how come somebody can call us as frustrated? From a worldly viewpoint, Yamunacharya says, the whole world can appreciate me, but if I am not appreciated by the Supreme Lord, what is the value of all the appreciation that I receive? The whole world may accuse me, but if I have the Lord's consent, then what is the problem of those accusations? So the message all the acharyas is trying to establish. When Srila Prabhupada used to mention that his own god brothers, his own fellow devotees, they never understood what Srila Prabhupada was intending to do, because when Srila Prabhupada started International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Srila Prabhupada had so many people, accusing him, saying that you are trying to, insult, you are trying to be a deviant, and so on and so forth. Srila Prabhupada said, no, I was trying to establish what our Gurudev wanted. Unfortunately, at that time, system in Gaudiya Math was little going out of control. So we had to focus on the mission. That's why I was trying to do the mission. I have no other agenda. And Srila Prabhupada made an offer. I'm ready to work together again. Please, let's consolidate things. I'm fine. But please, let's focus on the mission, not rather than getting carried away. So the message is, sometimes when our own blood relation, family members, friends, relatives, and sometimes our own god brothers, so-called spiritualists, may call us frustrated or call us, someone who has not seen success and accuse us, but we should not get deterred, as our acharyas have been very steadfastly focused in their missionary spirit. The fourth category, brother may call me mad. Very famous example of Vibhishana. And when Vibhishana was, speaking to Ravana. So Vibhishana was accused by Ravana that you are mad, you are not doing something correct. And when Nawab Hussain Shah was made a offer where Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami said that we are leaving, Nawab Hussain Shah said to the Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami, Sakar Malik and his brother, he said, you guys are mad. What are you doing? I am giving you a governor's job. If you want to take more salary, double salary, all the benefits, never leave this position. I'm giving you position, power, money, wealth, followers, servants. So why are you leaving all these things and trying to live a life of mendicant? Raghunath Das Goswami's father was sending, sacks of, gold coins. As much as you want, take it. Be with me. So then, no, nothing can, hold me back from serving Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So people were trying to bribe, people were trying to accuse, people were trying to allure, people were trying to distract, people were trying to derail. But nothing worked in our missionary Acharya's principles. So on this Gaura Purnima day, we need to kind of reinforce to ourselves that let's not get carried away by the so-called accusations coming from our own near and dear ones. Sometimes they do it without understanding where are we, situated. So Sripad Madhavendra Puri was trying to help us to handle such scenarios. And the fifth one is about wealthy Mammoites consider us as fools because we are the ones who try to dovetail. Our Amrish Prabhu gave a session in Kolkata wherein he met a group of industrialists and he mentioned that, guys, friends, I have seen the end of the road of what it means to be money. There's no fun there. Please dovetail your life for spirituality. So it became a big, cover news for that day. But then I'm sure everybody would go home struggling, saying that this guy has lived his life enjoying all the money. Now he's coming and giving bhashan. Whenever we give advice, whenever we give some words of wisdom, people immediately jump on and say that, he enjoyed, but he's asking us not to enjoy. So let me also enjoy. They don't understand that I did not enjoy. I thought it's an enjoyment and went to the wrong path. And I'm trying to warn you guys, don't go to that path. It's wrong. And if I don't know, I will only go and realize. So you'll become an example to others, but you will not be able to learn yourself. So my fifth aspect is in our journey to Krishna consciousness, let us be fools in the eyes of so-called materialistic men, rather than fools in the eyes of the Supreme Lord and his dear servants. So on this Gaura Purnima day, on this Gaura Purnima moment in the festivity, with the blessings of all the acharyas, so we need to understand that the purpose in which Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has established the Sankirtan mission. So this is to, uproot Shatru Chedaika Mantram Sakalam Upanishad Vakya Sampujya Mantram Samsaro Cheda Mantram. So it is to uproot the anomalies in the heart. Shatru Chedaika Mantram. So this mantra, this Hare Krishna Mahamantra given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is meant for uprooting the evil effects in the heart, the Shatrus in the heart, which is Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moga, Madha, Matsarya. So hence, let's not try to become intelligent in the eyes of the worldly people and be fool in front of Krishna. Rather, the converse to be okay. So maybe it may apparently, be seen that we are not someone who are not prudently utilizing our wealth. We are giving it to ISKCON, we are giving it to temple, we are giving it to preaching mission. But we have to tell all these people that we are saving from movies, we are saving from, nonsense, we are saving from various things. So from that standpoint, we are better off that way rather than be fool in the eyes of, devotees. The last but not least, learned philosophers may call us proud because after doing all these things, people will say that, oh, this guy you look at is very proud at a very young age because he's speaking Bhagavatam, giving classes, having some devotees. He's proud, showing off his, whatever little bit that he knew. But we are not showing us our pride. We should not, and we are not. And the intent here is that somewhere or other we need to establish that principle over, propensities. Because there are a lot of people who may come and give their own perspectives and propensities upon us and try to frame us, and let us not get framed, rather be a practitioner who will try to go past and subscribe to the ideologies of our acharyas and apply in our life by being a humble, at the same time bold servant. Prabhupada says every devotee is as soft as lotus petal and as hard as thunderbolt. So we can still remain a lotus petal, soft, humble, and responsible. At the same time, we can be very bold and definitely upfront when it comes to establishment of Siddhanta. These are all qualities. The 6 qualities that we spoke are very well exhibited. The reason I took this theme rather than just the events and episodes in Acharya's life. Events and episodes are history, which we should definitely know. But the lessons that we need to draw from their life, the lessons that we need to inherit in our life, is something that we need to apply upon. So by looking at these qualities, all the Acharyas, may it be Narottam Das Thakur, Madhavendra Puri, Srila Prabhupada, all the Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas, they have exhibited this boldness, they have exhibited this firm conviction, they have exhibited this courage to preach this Krishna consciousness mission, and hence Srila Prabhupada wanted us to be a soldier in this Sankirtan mission, Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. So our duty, our commitment to this entire parampara should be that how can I be a responsible soldier in the army of Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. This is a wonderful army, and Mahaprabhu requested, Acharyas requested, and everyone kind of requested us to take part in the Sankirtan mission, and we should definitely subscribe ourselves and make sure that we take advantage of this arrangement that we have. A devotee Sangha, knowing the holy name, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, being part of ISKCON, even initiated by our own spiritual masters, somewhere or other qualified enough or fortunate enough to be considered qualified. So all of those things are in our favor. We just need to let it happen. I'll just end with a small note saying that in Mumbai local, I'm not sure how many of you have been to Mumbai, how many of you have been traveling in Mumbai local. If you have to board on a Mumbai local train on a Monday morning in Kurla station or Andheri station, you need a knack of it. If you do not know it, watch YouTube and search for Mumbai local train on a Monday morning. So the way I have traveled, I have experienced this personally. The way it works is you need to position yourself right in front of the gate. You need to know where the train's gate is going to come, because the train will stand only for 10 seconds. In 10 seconds, thousands of people come out from one gate and thousands have to board in. And the only way by which you can board is somebody push you in. So you need to sandwich yourself between 2 people. There should be somebody in front of you, there should be somebody behind you. And that's all. Within a blink of an eye, you will be inside the train. The same tactics is for us to come out of the train. So in Krishna consciousness also, sandwich yourself between Guru and Gauranga with the help of holy name. Guru and Gauranga will make sure that you are very well, cushioned, sandwiched, embraced, and will definitely take us out of the cycle of birth and death and take us to the lotus feet of Shri Shri Radha Shyam Sundar. So our upcoming Gaura Purnima tomorrow, Achintya Gopesh will enlighten you all on more details of Gaura Purnima and Gauranga Mahaprabhu's glories. I was just trying to give a philosophical perspective and also qualitative perspective that we need to learn. I didn't plunge into the pastime part of it whilst I was expected to do. Somewhere I went into the analysis of how these all qualities, these all accusations that we naturally face, and sometimes we get carried away. Oh my God, my uncle is saying like this, my friend is saying like this, my wife is saying like this, my sons are saying like this, my this is saying like this, my that is saying like this. So we get carried away. One person mentioned this. One of the easiest way by which Kali acts upon in this world is you tell something good. When the other person don't understand, he will not come and clarify. Rather, he will mock at you. The moment he mocks at you, you start feeling a little, unrest. And 2-3 people start mocking at the same thing. You start to believe that they are right, we are wrong. That's the biggest strength of Kali. Oh, you guys are putting tilak. Oh, you have choti, you have shika. Oh, you guys are wearing dhoti. Oh, that's such a young age, you're reading Bhagavad Gita. If 4 people mocks at us, we'll start, feeling, oh my God, feeling shy about it or feeling guilty about it. We don't either share it with them that we are doing devotional service, or we give up to Krishna consciousness itself. So this particular statement or the structure, the theme that we picked up is to, to take a sankalpa with, each other and in front of Gaura Mahaprabhu on this Gaura Purnima day, so that we can very boldly, firmly, and strongly practice Krishna consciousness and be a messenger soldier in this army. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai. If there are any questions or comments, we can discuss. And once again, I'm sorry if it was really out of syllabus and out of context. And probably I'll be forgiven for that. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, thank you so much.
It was in Calcutta. This is much before ISKCON was started. I'm not sure if I shared the story here. If I have, still I'll repeat again. So this was in somewhere 1950s when Gaudiya Math was going through a rough patch. 1940s, 50s, whenever that is. I may be wrong with the years. Srila Prabhupada was in Calcutta in Sita Kanta Banerjee Lane. That's where his house was. And Srila Prabhupada was, at that time he was called Abhay Babu, by all his friends. So Abhay Babu had a friend by name Dol Govinda Shastri. Dol Govinda Shastri was a Sanskrit scholar. So every day Abhay Babu used to go to his pharmacy business, and the house where Abhay Babu used to live, Shastriji used to come and conduct Sanskrit tuitions. So one day Abhay Babu came back from work and Shastriji is leaving home. So they met each other. Abhay Babu's house was in first floor or maybe second floor, whatever you may call. So he was coming down by the stairs, Dol Govinda Shastri. Abhay Babu was climbing the stairs. They met each other. At the time, already a lot of confusions and chaos was going on in Gaudiya Math. So this Dol Govinda Shastri asked Abhay Babu, I read in Bhaktivinoda Thakur's writings, a day will come where Russians, Americans, Africans, they are all going to chant and dance and sing for the glories of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Do you think it is possible? So Abhay Babu looked at him, didn't utter a word, walked up the stairs, and Dol Govinda Shastri walked down. Then Abhay Babu stopped and turned around and said that, Shastriji, do you doubt the words of our acharyas? Shastriji said, no, I see baat nahi hai, it's not like that. But still I thought, we have so much of confusion going on. Where in this world we are going to have some results? Russia, America, Africa. In India it is not possible. How is this all going to happen? Then Abhay Babu further climbed up the stairs and stopped again and turned towards and Shastriji and said, some fool surrendered to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj will one day do it. But that's not you. So this is a very profound statement. I have done one entire class on this statement only in Vrindavan once. So some fool, because this statement has got a formula. Some fool surrendered to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj will one day do it, but that's not you. So Shastriji got a doubt. Okay, I understand the last part. That's not me. I understand because I will not be able to because I am already in whatever, Maya or whatever that is. But this you he refers has got plural, which means he's going to do it. Who is going to do this? Who is going to do it? What is he trying to say? So Shastriji was so confused and was blabbering and not able to compile that word, that sentence. Then he finally left, and few years passed, maybe 10, 15 years later. This Dol Govinda Shastri became the head of the department of Ravinsha College, Cuttack. There's a college called Ravinsha College. This gentleman became the head of the department. One day he was coming in a rickshaw on the road. This was much later, maybe 15-20 years later. They both were lost the touch with each other and everybody were moved on in their life. So when he was coming in the rickshaw, he suddenly saw a very heavy, white-bodied foreigner in dhoti, kurta, urdu, pundra, tilak, shika, japamala. He couldn't believe a foreigner, in Gaudiya Vaishnava attire, because it was always his doubt, right? So he stopped the rickshaw in the middle of the road. He ran towards that person. He said, "Who are you? How come you have this Gaudiya Vaishnava attire?" So that person was our famous Bhagavan Das, one of the earlier disciples of Srila Prabhupada. She was going for a life membership appointment. If you know life membership preachers, they are very focused. Vyavasayatmika buddhi. They want to focus on making sure no member is lost. So they were much focused. So he gave the Back to Godhead magazine to him, saying that you keep this magazine. I am going for an appointment. We will talk later. So Shastriji picked up the magazine and he moved on. Bhagavan Das moved on. The first page of the magazine had "Yoga is not gymnastics" by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, an article. So he got super excited that he's a foreigner and he is having Bhaktivinoda Thakur's writing. And so that day I questioned Abhay Babu that how come Russians, Americans and Africans are going to chant the holy name of the Lord? So he immediately ran back to him and said, "Hey, how come Bhaktivinoda Thakur? How come you know Bhaktivinoda Thakur?" Hey, Baab re Baab, sadak mein bita ke mujhe kitna sawal puchega. He said, stopped in the middle of the road, asking so many questions. He asked, "Who is your spiritual master? Who taught you about Bhaktivinoda Thakur?" He said, "My spiritual master's name is Om Vishnu Pad, Abhay Charanarayanda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada." He said, "Who is this?" Because you know them as Abhay Babu. Then he opened the last page of the Back to Godhead magazine. It had got Srila Prabhupada's pictures. He is my spiritual master. Dol Govinda Shastri said, "Ye to Abhay Babu hai. He's my friend. I'm his god brother. When did he go to America? When did he start this movement? When did he start all these things? Do you think this movement is international?" Then both of them offered obeisance in the middle of the road. And he cancelled the appointment. They both went to the temple. But the message I want to say is, some fool surrendered to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj will one day do it. 5 things are involved in this statement. Number 1, we are always fool in front of our spiritual master. We are just an instrument in Guru's hands. Being fool doesn't mean being foolish. Being fool means don't show off. Use your intelligence to fulfill the orders of the spiritual master. Sometimes people think that in a literal sense, "Oh, Prabhuji, I'm supposed to be a fool, so I'll act like a fool." No, we are supposed to use intelligence, but not show off, not try to think you are intelligent beyond your spiritual master. So that's the first qualification. Second qualification is surrendered fool, not just a fool. I am supposed to be surrendered. To whom we are supposed to surrender? To a bona fide parampara. In this case, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. By doing these 3 things, will. The word will is very important because Rakshishati Vishwaso. I am confident that if I am surrendered, I will. If I am surrendered and following the instructions, I will be able to. And last but not the least is do it. You have to get in action, not just conversation. Just get into action. Action is very important. Application is very important. That is why our entire parampara is saying that please come forward. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, Prabhupada, all our spiritual authorities, they're all saying, come forward. And we do not know how long we are going to live in this world. Kabe habe bolo se dinamar aparada guchi sudaname ruchi kripa bole kabe hridaye sanchar Ranadikahina kame nije mani. Beautiful song. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written. In that song, he has all mentioned. When will the day be mine? I will be able to chant. Aparada guchi, suddha name ruchi. Kripa bole kabe hridaye sanchar. We should wait for that day. So the formula is, some fool surrendered to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj will one day do it. The same formula goes, some fool surrendered to Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas. If we are committed, we will also be able to be a useful servant to our parampara. Hare Krishna.
Hari Hari, wonderful, Prabhu, wonderful. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Any other comments, questions, thoughts?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, what we see, we are trying to be a responsible soldier, but right now we are preparing and we can see there is a huge gap between our desires and our action. So we are trying to, reduce that gap, but then our small efforts, it is means looking very difficult, Prabhuji. So what is the reason?
Okay. For all the others who are on the call, Rupali ji is part of our congregation. I shared the link. So if you are wondering who is this Rupali logged in, so she's part of our Navi Mumbai congregation. So thanks for this question, Mataji. The point is, it is Rake Krishna Mare Krishna Rake Ke. If the whole strength and energy is not based on our endeavor only, it is also based on the Lord's mercy. Our job is to desire. Our job is to try. And Krishna's job is to lift us. If Krishna is not lifting us, anyway you can't, make any big progress. If you are not going to ask, Krishna may not lift you. So the whole point is, better raise your arms, open your heart, open your mouth, and scream for help. And also express your desire. And keep doing that. And when Krishna feels that you are at the right frequency, you will be airlifted. And to do that, Krishna has kept so many agents, so many servants to validate and to facilitate. So the only thing that we can and we should be doing is be confident, be consistent, and not be stagnant. I'm confident that this process is going to rescue, because this is not a blind faith. This is a scientific process. And consistent because it's not 1 day, 2 days. It's supposed to be a regular one. And make sure that you are not getting stagnant somewhere. Saying that I have shown my path, let Krishna also reciprocate, then I'll do next. It's not like that. We keep doing it. So hence, if you change your desire, if you organize your desire, if you fine tune your desire, and if you are consistent in your actions with your desires, then rest everything to make you glorious, responsible. It is Krishna's job. Our job is to make ourselves available. Rest everything Krishna will take care. And let Krishna do it whenever he is doing it. So till that point in time, we keep yearning, working, and whatever comes your way, do it in the best possible capacity to bring in a smile on the face of your spiritual authorities. That makes sense?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, also the devotees should have that patience, as Rupa Goswami says, Utsaha Nischaya Dharya. You may have Utsaha, the enthusiasm, but determination and patience, both are important more than the enthusiasm. We do out of enthusiasm, we do wonderfully, first 1 month, 2 months, and third month become tired. That patience lost, determination is lost. Because Maya will put checks. Hey, this just Hare Krishna, come and dance and they have prasadam and time waste for you. You have so much of earning, so much of this, that, and all. Maya will allure us. In spite of that, we should have that patience and determination also. Then, and the seed will not fructify in 1 day or 2 days. It has its own time. The seed has to fructify. So time, which is Krishna. So we patiently wait for the time, but at the same time, as I said, we keep working on our part. Yeah.
Very interesting example somebody is telling is this. These mobile signals are there in the space. For you to get hooked up to the right frequency, buy a right receiver, put a right SIM card, enable it, you have the signal. So problem is not at the transmission end. Problem is always at the receiving end. You be a very good receiver, tune up your frequency. Naturally, it's called Dayal Nitai Chaitanya Bole, Nachare Amar Mon. But when they will Nachare Amar Mon? When you make the heart as a temple. Krishna Murari, Shri Krishna Murari, Mama Mana Mandire. Make the temple as your heart as a temple and invite the Lord, then they'll come and dance. So buy the SIM card, buy a handset, buy a receiver, and probably do it. So the human form of life is such a receiver. Put the SIM card, proper desires, and in the right association, you will start to see the response. Maybe initially it may be slower. Krishna definitely reciprocates. Eyatam mam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyaham. Yes, patience is definitely important, but Krishna definitely gives us some experience. Even to Narada Muni, in his previous life, when he was serving the Shudran, the Paramahamsas, when he was a son of a Shudrani, Krishna did appear, did inspire, did ensure, and said that in this life, this much only I can do. Keep doing this. In the next life, I'll give you such a privilege that no one else can get that position. So in our case also, we have to show our character. I guess the entire Krishna consciousness is dependent on the mercy of the Lord, subject to our endeavors. How much ever we are putting endeavor, the Lord is definitely ready to open up as much as we are ready to receive them.
Jai. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I had one question, means two questions actually. One question was this Acharya's appearance and disappearance. So they are from the spiritual world, so they are either Manjari or Gopis. So they take to show an example to us. Means that is one question. And another question is, Prabhuji, sometimes like giving Lakshmi to other projects. So many people for many projects are asking money. So how to do? I mean, generally, people say yatra. Then we have Shiksha Guru. He is there. Then we have friends, and then there are friends all over the world. So how to like all our ISKCON projects are related to some or the other projects. So how to, without being offense, we can carry on. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Acharya's appearance day and disappearance day are, as it is always explained. So Acharyas are empowered personalities. We spoke on Lord Shiva's glories on that day. We discussed that how there is Supreme Lord, Supreme Lord's expansions, Supreme Lord's reflections, Supreme Lord's empowerments. So Vaishnavas, all the Acharyas are empowered personalities. So they are here purely under the order of the Supreme Lord and purely operating based on what the Lord wants them. And they come, finish the task, beautifully finish the task without any tinge of personal attachment, execute it and go. And from that perspective, their appearance and disappearance are just a matter of formality. Otherwise, they are directly, sent. It's like, I was told when His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj visited Middle East. So when he had to visit, he didn't have to stand in the immigration line. He just got down and whatever, because he was welcomed by the king of Dubai or whoever that is. So he had a royal right. Everything else was just a formality. Even I'm sure they would have stamped his passport, they would have done certain things. But he had a royal right from the airport all the way because he was personally accompanied by the king or the king's, nominated people. So when the Lord is inviting you, even though apparently you may do certain formalities, it is just a matter of formality. The remaining focus is all meant for what the Lord wants to come and do. So Acharya's appearance and disappearance, that is why in Rishabhadev's discussion in 5th canto Bhagavatam, it is very nicely explained. Mahat Pada Rajobhishekam. It is said that the saffron particles from the dust of the lotus feet of the Lord, they actually enters the heart of a devotee, self-realized devotee. And when a self-realized devotee speaks, then that saffron particles comes from the sound vibration of a self-realized devotee, goes inside our ears, one who's listening, and it enters the sadhaka's heart and purifies the dirt in the heart and establishes Krishna consciousness. Fantastic purport Prabhupada gives there. So hence, we need to make sure that we should see a Vaishnava through our ears rather than by our eyes. So these all Acharyas are appearance and disappearance is just a matter of formality. We better celebrate both of them. Of course, in disappearance, we do have some feeling of separation, but in the feeling of separation, we have more and more reinstating ourselves how I'm supposed to be, be a responsible soldier in the army rather than, oh, chile gaye kind of, crying type. So that way, Prabhupada was very neutral in terms of appearance and disappearance. This is unique to Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas because we know both what happens after they leave this body and also when they are here. Now, with respect to your $1 million question, where am I supposed to spend my millions? I'll tell you as a principle. The first principle is, if you are associated with the yatra, if you are associated with the temple, suppose, for example, I am associated with a temple over here in Radha Madan Mohanji temple in Kargar. So my first preference, first importance is that I am supposed to support the local preaching initiative. This is always Prabhupada's stand. Wherever I am locally present currently, I have a duty-bound indebtedness to take care of this project. This is first responsibility. Second, in spite of this, if I am doing a yatra, if I am traveling to yatra, if I go to a kshetra, it is important that I am supposed to do charity in the kshetra to serve Dhamvasis. So from that perspective, whenever I go to a Dham, I cannot go empty-handed saying that I have given donation to temple. I'm supposed to take care of Dhamvasis. You can apportion them. The third is Bhagavatam's directive. It is there in Srimad Bhagavatam under the title of Varnashrama Dharma, where how the money is supposed to be spent. So they said, if money is supposed to be spent in this 5 ways, they're giving 5 ways, then you will never be bound, entangled by money. They say first is for the worship of the Supreme Lord at home. They say that a grahastha is supposed to spend to make sure that he spends for his deity worship very nicely. Krishna is supposed to be taken care. Number 2, inviting Vaishnavas, Gurus, self-realized soul, and feeding them. So this is a duty of a Vaishnava. Suppose if you have a traveling preacher, we have to invite them and give dakshina. So this is a part of Vaishnava tradition. No, I gave donation to the temple. It's not the, because you have invited them, you are supposed to do that. Third, they are supposed to take care of brahmanas, cows, and the righteous people, because it is a duty of a grahastha. If the cows are not protected, if brahmanas are not taken care, righteousness is gone. The fourth is that poor animals and those who are deserted, left, and those who are needy, in terms of general charity, we should apportion some money. And fifth is take care of the family members and their welfare, health, and related things like that. And after spending for all of them, you spend for your personal choices. This is very nice. I may have not, I'm just paraphrasing them, but you can refer the Srimad Bhagavatam. It's there in the 9th canto somewhere. Maybe where Yudhishthira Maharaj and Narada Muni are speaking. There Narada Muni is explaining this. During the Varnashrama series, we discussed this point. The message is that at every point in time, the financial resources that we have, if we learn to prudently spend in some logical, so your local yatra, dham, no contradiction. You can be part of any yatra, but if you're in dham, you're supposed to serve. And if you're part of local yatra, you are supposed to serve. These two are mandatory. Rest, all the projects are optional. They're purely subject to Yatha Shakti. Suppose if you shifted from Abu Dhabi to Srirangam, Abu Dhabi to Kumbakonam, Abu Dhabi to Dwaraka, then you naturally have to show your indebtedness to whichever new yatra you are going. And because you are becoming part of that family, you are going to take service from the family. Every Sunday you go to there and eat prasadam. On what privilege you are eating? Because you are supposed to take care of that family and things like that. So that's a general thumb rule. Once Radhanath Maharaj mentioned to one of his disciples who asked the same question, we have Gaura deities and I live in Dham. So where should I give more importance? Radhanath Maharaj mentioned proper statement. He said, if you are in Dham, if you are in the closest proximity of living to the temple, then you should give importance to the temple deity worship, temple program. The temple deities happens to be your extended house. You may still have deities or a small altar at your house for your small puja, but it will be considered that if you are attending Mangalarti in the temple, doing puja in the temple, doing service in the temple, it will be considered as you are participating your services nicely. So the ecosystem around the temple is meant to make sure that temple is our embassy. We are making sure that that thrives nicely. Sure, at your own houses also you need to have practices, but that is subjective. And this all are very time, place, and circumstances ways. They're all fine-tuned here. Make sense, Prabhuji? Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Wonderful. Thank you. Wonderful.
Hare Krishna. Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you so much. Once again, it is a pleasure to be with you all. Looking forward for more sanghas in the future. Thanks to Jagannath Prabhu,
Shyam
Shyam
Sundar
Sundar
Jagannath.
Prabhu.
Jagannath.
Thanks to his son-in-law Haridas Varya, who keeps engaging me in service. Thanks to all of you to tolerate the sessions that I have been doing. So, Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, let's all chant for Prabhu also one time, and then we will pray Vaishnava.
Yeah.
Sure.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Vancha kalpadripasya kripa sindhya patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo.
Happy Gaur Purnima to you all.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Same to you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Same to you.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Haridas Varya Prabhu, you are there?